Department of Justice has indicted Matt Weiss for illegally accessing more than 1,300 former players and staff's electronic information, from social media to photos that he probably shouldn't have had. So let's talk about what that means. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching the #1 college football show, welcome. Thank you for joining us here. We talk college football year round. And if that's something you're into, hit the subscribe button, like this video, and tell me what you think about this in the comments below, because this is actually kind of a bombshell that was dropped by the U.S. State's Attorney Office in the Eastern District of Michigan. And the lead of the press release is that former University of Michigan football coach, quarterbacks coach, co-offense coordinator Matt Weiss was indicted for unauthorized access to computers and aggravated identity theft. And this is kind of wild in that this is what he ended up getting fired for at the University of Michigan. And I want to be clear about that. This is not so much about the University of Michigan or its football program as it is just how prevalent this might have been and what we're actually looking at here. So again, this is going back to the press release that is public and you can go read for yourself. It's a one-pager. Using information that he obtained from the student athletes databases and his own internet research, Weiss was able to obtain access to social media, email, and or cloud storage accounts of more than 2,000 targeted athletes. Weiss also illegally obtained access to social media, email, and other cloud accounts of 1,300 other additional students and alumni from the university across the country. And then this line, I think, was going to send chills down many people's spines. Once Weiss obtained access to these accounts, he downloaded personal, intimate digital photographs and videos that were never intended to be shared beyond intimate partners. Yikes, guys. Credit Dan Wetzel, who broke this story, who's now working at ESPN as enterprise and investigative reporter. But my goodness, guys, like it was always kind of suspicious what it was that he was actually doing, except, hey, we got laws against accessing this kind of information and or downloading it. Like there were questions about what exactly it was that he was looking for and why he was looking for it, as he was offense coordinator, quarterbacks coach at Michigan. And frankly, Michigan did not miss him. And as soon as he was dismissed, they stopped talking about it, started bringing it up. And frankly, I haven't needed to or wanted to talk about Matt Weiss for quite some time. Sharon Moore was doing a hell of a good job as the offense coordinator 2022-2023, and Kirk Campbell was also instrumental in helping win that national championship. Stayed on, ends up getting fired. He's back with the Los Angeles Chargers. More than anything else, I think people want to know what Michigan is going to have to say about this beyond the obvious, which they condemned all of this, and he's been fired. I don't think that there's really much more that you need to say. I think that it's fairly clear to me that the FBI and the U.S. Department of Justice have picked this up and are expecting to see it all the way through. I mean, what we're doing here is we're talking about multiple counts of identity theft and what, if anything, was done with that. I mean, we're talking about, 14 counts unauthorized access to computers and 10 counts of aggravated identity theft. In this day and age, too, where so many people are trying to be more careful about their privacy being violated, about who has access to the information that can lead to identity theft, this is even more egregious, right? I don't know that there are that many people that know that perhaps now is a good time to think about putting a freeze on your credit, right? With how the government is being run, changing to what Doge is doing or not doing. If you just want to play it safe, there's only one way to do that, and that is to lock up everything that you have. Two-factor authentication on all of your accounts, whether they be social for fun, social not for fun, email, so forth, so on. It's one of those things that I employ personally in all of my digital communications. I mean, using Signal as opposed to using just iMessage or standard text messaging, things that have end-to-end encryption. If you use WhatsApp, that's a way to go. It's becoming more important for you to safeguard your privacy and your information than it ever has before, as many people interact with the world almost exclusively through digital media. And because digital media is so prevalent and seemingly free, more people tend to use it that way, right? They choose not to put that much value into it. I know that it sucks to come up with a strong password because if your memory is anything like mine, your password, your password is strong, but your memory is weak. So you end up needing to write things down on pieces of paper and then put them in a strong box so that when you can go get them, those things come out. If you are a player or an alumnus or somebody that was associated with the University of Michigan where they might have had access to that information, you might want to go find out if you're a part of this and if there's anything that can be done, because right now it's frankly damage control on your part, I think. And I'm sure that the Department of Justice is doing what they need to do, and as far as letting folks know. Is this going to affect the football that's being played? I don't think so, guys. I really don't. I think we've got all sorts of other things to talk about with the University of Michigan, not the least of which is if and when they're going to get some form of punishment for sign stealing, which pales in comparison to all of this, which is why I'm treating it with the level of severity that it is. This is not for jokes. It's not. This is not for taking cheap shots at the university or the football program. I think if you got someone who's involved in this, it's not funny to you. It's not funny to me, right? That's kind of the thing here, especially knowing that as a dude that hosts a YouTube channel that's got more than 131,000 people subscribed to it, can be targeted for this or that attack. And it's much easier now than it used to be for people to get access to your otherwise sensitive information. Like I just learned from my buddy who works in IT that just by scrolling over the wrong banner and kind of clicking it, you can introduce malware into a system where someone could get access to this sort of information. Again, it's not really, it's not a laughing matter. It's not. I wanted to stress that more than anything else. And I'm grateful to find out that this is being treated with the kind of severity that is being treated with by the University of Michigan and by the FBI. I think they're probably going to have to say the obvious, which is simply that they are going to cooperate with the U.S. Department of Justice, Eastern District of Michigan, that they condemn the behavior, and that's probably going to be the end of it. Probably won't hear much else about this until it progresses through the court system, because Matt Weiss is going to probably end up in front of a judge at some point. After that, it will just be part of the a story that I think many people don't want to reference, in the way that folks don't want to reference Jerry Sandusky in Penn State and other horrific scandals, sexual assault scandal at Baylor. As these things happen, we learn from them and we take appropriate action and punishment. But the point here is, okay, we know that this has happened. We've been alerted to this, what is happening here. How do we best react to this and be proactive about rooting it out in the rest of sport? Now that we know that sports betting is becoming such a big deal and more players are getting pressure to perform in certain ways because there's so much money there, how do we better protect the play on the field? How do we better protect the players? What questions are or aren't worth sharing? I mean, on another end, this is the injury prevention part of this, right? Like giving out injury reports was not something that college football used to do, but now that is basically to try to protect the players and let the sharps know what is or what isn't happening. And as the money continues to grow with name, image, and likeness, and people still wanting more ways to try to influence players and coaches, this was, I think, going to happen at some point. But was it going to happen from a guy that, frankly, I didn't even think had the time or the wherewithal to do something like this? Guy being a person in a job that many people dream of having. Offense coordinator, quarterbacks coach at the University of Michigan. That blows my mind. I don't understand that part. But I don't need to, right? And you don't need to. We just need to know that it happened, and if it did happen, it can happen again, and we're going to take the appropriate measure to make sure that we root this out. Again, not a laughing matter. It's not something to joke about, but it is something that I wanted to address as it is news, and it has happened.